Wuthering Waves is another free-to-play open-world gacha game to add to the long list of other free-to-play open-world gacha games. At the start of the year it launched on PS5 with its 2.0 update, and so I decided to properly give it a little go. I did play a bit when it first came out on PC originally, but let's just say my PC is not the greatest, and leave it at that. Now, I've said before that I have no problem with these kinds of games. I am financially responsible. I'm not going to throw money away on some pixels. And I'm certainly not going to spend money unnecessarily to get the Platinum Trophy, which is what this video is about. So yeah, my experience was completely free to play. You aren't going to hear any great pieces of advice like, just have C6 of every character 5-head. Those guides always wind me up. No one has that. You should always make a guide with common characters. If you couldn't tell, I went for the Platinum Trophy, and this video is just going to be talking about how that went. Before we get into the trophies, I'm just going to give a brief overview of how the game works, just so we're all on the same page with what we're dealing with. It's an open world game where doing quests and puzzles and finding chests around the maps give you currency, and you can spend that on the gacha for new characters and weapons. You can have 3 characters on a team. Yes, you can spend real money on the gacha, but I didn't, as previously mentioned. You can level your character, the character's weapon, and skills, which includes combat skills, passive skills, and just stat buffs. There's also echoes, which give you random main and sub-stats and are the most important part of building a character. In essence, this and pretty much every other gacha game are about building your characters to be as strong as possible so you can breeze through the overworld and story and then actually stand a chance against the endgame content. The thing about the Platinum is that there's almost nothing to talk about. Most of the trophies are incredibly simple. You'll get a lot naturally as you progress, as long as you're actually leveling and, you know, playing the game properly. Trophies in this category include hitting a certain amount of damage or dodging a certain amount of times. Most of the combat ones are in this sort of category. There's also a bunch for doing quests, both main and side quests. Now personally, I'm generally the type to do all the quests I get so that I have an empty list. It's like this in pretty much every game I play, gacha or otherwise. But I know people who, despite playing the game a lot, just don't do their quests. What's wrong with you? This game even has a skip button if you're so inclined. I'd never do that, but it is there. I guess I can just talk about the trophies that were a bit out of the way. There's one called Power for sitting in a chair, which I like because it's a reference to the hit Capcom game Dino Crisis 3. There's also one for climbing all the towers in the Black Shores. This one I thought the anchors mentioned were teleport waypoints. Don't know why I thought that. Does another game call them anchors? Answers on a postcard please. Or the comments, whichever is easier. There's a gold trophy for defeating an enemy called the Spearback King. I did this underleveled and undergeared without much issue, so I have no idea why it's a gold trophy. It's also called Here Comes the Bear, which the only thing I can think that it's referencing is the Wiggles, and if that's correct, I want a medal please. There's a trophy for getting 2 Phantom Echoes. These are basically like shiny Pokemon, recolors of enemies that you can get for your Echoes. The thing about this one though is it's not just any 2 Echoes, it's specifically the Rocksteady Guardian and the Tortoise. That sounds like an insult, but I swear that's its name. I don't know if any location can spawn these or if it's only specific ones, but there are listed places where they are confirmed to appear online. This one is also a gold trophy, which is fine I guess. They're shiny, and gold is also shiny. Mind you, so are bronze and silver, but we won't think about that. Oh, you know what? I probably should have mentioned this next one a bit earlier. And the next part is in red and says move this part around in the script before recording. So there's also trophies for max ascending a character and maxing all their skills, both of which needing you to get your account to level 60. This naturally takes time and is one of the few trophy related hiccups that make this game a time commitment, especially once you run out of quests and basically are relying on your dailies and your stamina. For maxing skills, it's also important that you do the right weekly boss for the character that you're building. I recommend picking a good character, or maybe 3, for a later trophy that we will get to, don't you worry. The 2.0 trophies are listed as DLC, so not part of the Platinum, but of course I'll quickly go over the ones that are less straightforward. First up, unlock 20 songs at the Aria Mama. Trophy description says 30, but it's actually 20. Please fix this, unless they did already and I just didn't see it. And also, fix the misspelling in the Platinum trophy, that would also be good. It says trophies with a U in the middle of it instead of just an O. That's not how you spell it. I don't think that's how anyone spells it. It's not like a colours European with a U in it. It's just not correct. Anyway, this one needs you to find music flies around the 2.0 area. You bet I looked up the locations, though admittedly they do stand out pretty well against the land. Just remember to actually collect them. I'm ashamed to say I had to recollect like half of them as I stopped them, but forgot to pick them up. I promise I've actually played a video game before. There's also the Iron Sword of Promised Victory, which I remember no one really knowing about when the update first came out. What it is a daily quest, which means getting this trophy is basically out of your hands. Gacha games, don't do this. I should be able to get all the trophies at any time, if I'm leveled up enough. The name of this trophy is, I assume, a Fate reference. Sword of Promised Victory is the name of a music track from Fate Zero, and the achievement involves a sword in a stone like Excalibur, so I'm confident in saying that's the reference this time. Didn't think that I'd be going over multiple references in this video, but here we are. Someone make a video explaining every reference in every in-game achievement. That's a unique video idea that's not been done yet, and I will definitely not be the one to do it. 2.2 then came out before I got the platinum, which yes, it did take me over 3 months for this, and spoilers, it'll take a few more. 2.2 added more trophies, but there was nothing I couldn't do day one. A good amount are unlockable just by going through the main story of this version. In fact, by the time I reached the end of it, I only had 3 left to go. These were, reach the highest point in the new map, which I got while doing an event as it was right next to one of the parts of the event. Can I just say this area is monster confusing? I've never been good with the whole flipping gravity and whatnot. Really makes me lose my sense of direction. Normally, pretty good at navigating, but things like this are the big exception. Anyway, another I got while doing the exploration event at the time for reaching the Abyssal Crucible. Again, not hard, it's attached to a side quest, so extra rewards there. The final trophy is the most well hidden. What you need to do is first beat the side quest I just mentioned, then you can go down the elevator before the boss instead of up. Down there is a gravity thing, so flip the gravity, go back the way you came, and find the painting on the left. After a few seconds of standing near it, the trophy will pop, which rounds up the trophies for 2.2. Then we get to 2.4. Yes, I thought I would be done before this came out, but we'll get to why. So I guess that they're adding new PS trophies every 2 updates or 3 months, which makes sense. Other than the main quest line, there's also a trophy for bathing with your companions, which is not as scandalous as it sounds. It's more like a foot bath, to be honest. You also need to collect 3 pages from the 2.2 area for a side quest. Not going to attempt to pronounce it. I think there's more of these pages for the other areas, but those ones don't have PS trophies, so I didn't do them. Day 1 for this, there was no guide, so I looked around and managed to find one of the 3 pages, but then the second day I woke up and there was a guide, so I used that for the other 2. I simply do not have the patience to scour the map for these little collectibles. I'm like it with every game. Going back to the main quest line, this one actually had 2 parts to it, with the second part not coming out until the second half of the patch, when the banners roll over. It doesn't really matter, but I don't think I've ever played a gacha that's done that before. Normally the whole story is out right away. I'm sure there are ones that have done this, but none that I can name off the top of my head. After doing that, it also made these guys unfrozen, and beating these guys gives you the final trophy for the patch. So, remember when I said there's almost nothing to talk about when it comes to platinuming? This is the reason why. You need to get all crests in the Tower of Adversity. For those that speak Genshin, this is the Spiral Abyss equivalent, which, fun fact, I've never 36-starred the Abyss, so seeing that WuWa essentially made that a trophy was worrying to say the least. How the tower works is that each character has 10, let's just call it stamina because I forgot the actual name, and different floors of the towers cost different amounts, but the main thing is that all the floors of a single tower will add up to 10. Meaning you need 3 well-built teams to beat the 3 towers and beat them fast enough to get all the crests. Or at least, that's what they want you to do, and is indeed what you need to do for all the in-game rewards. You can though finish one tower, then reset the tower to give all your characters their stamina back, and then repeat for the other 2 towers. So what this means is for this trophy, you only need 1 fully built team instead of 3, which is good, cuts farming in half. Should also say I wanted to get this done as soon as possible, as going off other similar games, these endgame modes typically only get harder the more updates are released and power creep becomes more pronounced. The question then becomes, what should my team be? Time to consult the online guides, as I am bad for building for myself. For DPS I was between Carlotta and Jinshi. I eventually decided on Carlotta because I had the standard 5-star gun, whereas Jinshi was on a 3-star as I somehow had no good 4-star Broadblades. Hindsight, there may have been craftables, but I didn't think of that. I had Verena for support for a bit. That seemed like a no-brainer without Shorekeeper. That just left my third member, the sub DPS. I stupidly didn't pull Zhuzhi because I didn't know any meta at the time, and so I was forced to pick from 4 stars. So, Tauchi? Now listen, I know she's probably not very good compared to others. However, no, there's no however. There may have been better options, but I am not good at this game. I just liked her outro skill, buffing Carlotta's skill. That was the main reason I picked her. I may have underestimated how hard this would be though, because it took so long that I ended up getting both Shorekeeper and Zhuzhi and still couldn't do it. Mainly because the towers had glacio resistance for bloomin' ages. I just want to use Carlotta, why are you making this hard for me game? I ended up completely pivoting my strategy. I figured this thing is designed to incentivize you to pull for current banner characters, and so with the one coming up at the time clearly focusing on arrow erosion, I caved and pulled both Chiacona and Cartathea, and once I had and built them, I was actually able to clear both middle tower floors first try, along with Shorekeeper as the eternal support. Thankfully, there was enough time between 2.0 to 2.4 for me to get a good amount of pulls just from the stuff around the map. I never spent any money. The tower was my big roadblock to getting the plat, but it's a lot more manageable and, dare I say, even fun than Genshin's Spiral Abyss. Might just be a me thing, but even when it wasn't the most optimal buffs, I still felt like I could get a few crests. I'm not the biggest fan of the challenging endgame stuff though, just ain't my cup of tea. So I was happy to get this done and never have to do it again. And that was the final hardest trophy worth talking about and the one that got me the platinum trophy. So what do I think about the game on the whole? For the most part, I did have fun. The combat is generally faster than its contemporaries, and only having 3 characters in a team, unlike the usual 4, doesn't end up as being as much of a negative as you may think. I do think I ended up using the same few characters more than other games where I vary up a bit more, but that might just be due to my lack of investment comparatively. The story has its moments, though it would be a lie to call it amazing the whole way through. Most people probably skip it anyway. The gacha itself is not noticeably more generous or harsh than any other popular gacha of this style. I don't know the rates, and to be honest, I don't really care. I'm not one to obsess. If I get what I want, great. If not, oh well, there's always next time. My biggest complaint with the game though is to do with echoes. I've got no issue with getting them from defeating enemies, I think that's completely fine. My complaint is that you can't feed unupgraded echoes into others to upgrade them. This basically means that it takes absolutely ages to get echoes leveled, even longer than other games I feel like. This is almost certainly intentional to keep people playing longer, I'm not oblivious to that fact, but intentional annoying design is still annoying. Will I keep playing? Honestly, just on the whole, I'm sort of done with the daily gacha grind. I'll happily come back to play when there's a big update, but making sure I log in every day and doing my dailies is something I am firmly over. I'm not the type to go gaga over new characters either, so I guess I'm the type of person the gacha companies hate. But I can say I platinumed it though, and no one can take that away from me. And that's the video. Have you played and or platinumed this game? Or are you working on it? Or did you not enjoy it? What characters are you using? And or do you want next? Let me know all that in the comments, and while you're down there, why not subscribe? It's free, helps me out, and gives you easy access to all my videos, both old and new. Thank you for watching. For now though, I'm off, hunt them tropes, and I'll see you next time.